In 1921, when it was called the Annapolis and Baltimore Shoreline, it was purchased by the larger Washington, Baltimore, Annapolis Electric Railway, WB&A, and then emerged from the WB&A's 1935 bankruptcy and closure as the Baltimore-Annapolis Railroad. B&A electric passenger operation between the two cities continued until 1950, at which time the rail line became solely a freight carrier, operating buses for passenger services. Freight service to Annapolis continued until June 1968, when the Severn River trestle was declared unsafe. In the 1980s, the line was completely shut down. The right-of-way now serves as a part of Baltimore's light rail system and as the Baltimore-Annapolis Trail.
Following World War II, gasoline cars came back. At a hearing in November 1949, the Maryland Public Service Commission reported the rails are worn and would have to be replaced if passenger services continued. The cars and trains are antiquated, decrepit, and unattractive means of travel. Schedules are slow and there is no inducement, save that of necessity for anyone to travel the area by rail. While not yet dead, it is morbid. The B&A substituted buses for rail service on February 5, 1950. The B&A short line made its final passenger run. The electric wires were removed, but the railroad remained intact for diesel-operated freight service. The B&A purchased a diesel that remained in freight service to Annapolis until June 1968, when the Severn River trestle was embargoed.
Freight was now terminated at Jones Station, where Annapolis Lumber and Supply Company sent trucks to collect freight. At this time, the Naval Academy converted their power and heating systems from coal to oil. By the early 1970s, all that remained in service was a 6-mile stub to Glen Burnie. The Baltimore and Annapolis Railroad's public bus system was absorbed by Maryland Transit Administration in 1973 as Route 14. The company continued as a charter bus service using motor coaches into the mid-1980s, but eventually ceased service. In 1979, Anne Arundel County purchased a 66-foot, 20-meter wide corridor between Glen Burnie to Arnold for the purpose of creating the Baltimore-Annapolis Trail and Park. The remaining line north of Glen Burnie was shut down in the early 1980s and sold to the state of Maryland to serve as the southern leg of the light rail system. In 1986, B&A number 50 was donated to the B&O Railroad.
B&O Railroad, while not yet dead, is morbid.